Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back your lovely faces to a brand new video here on the channel. Today we are going to be talking about the article that the Bailen Times put out last night regarding Dan Wootton, because he has finally been suspended from GB News, but not for all the stuff that everyone currently has the information about. No. He's been suspended for laughing at someone's jokes, and because someone decided to be an idiot, to be a dickhead, really, and attack someone personally instead of professionally. I say it like that because the person that they were talking about, Ava Evans, she went on the Piers Morgan show the other night, and she actually said that she wants men to be terrified. She wants men to be scared to death. And she started belittling self-deletion in males and males' mental health. No, you do not do that. Today, we are going to be looking at the article, like I said, that the Bailen Times put out regarding Dan Wootton. Now, this is a network problem. Dan Wootton suspended from GB News. The war between GB News, Lawrence's Fox, and Dan Wootton, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a moment, led to the presenter being suspended following a day of drama at the news channel, after the broadcaster remained largely silent on allegations exposed by the Bailen Times special investigation. Dan Wootton came out yesterday on Twitter and he was like, oh, I had no idea he was going to say all those horrible things. I didn't know that this was going to be said. It caught me off guard, blah, blah, blah. But what we all learned from Dan Wootton is that he is a snake. He is the person who will manipulate people into thinking, oh no, I'm the victim here. It was my show and I was caught off guard and I didn't know what to say. All I could do was smile and laugh at some of the things that Lawrence Fox said. Well, that's not exactly a good thing because obviously Lawrence Fox, he decided to, to put out on Twitter some of the tweets and the messages between him and Dan Wootton. Oof, so seems like the two little lovebirds, they're having a bit of a marital problem. So GB News has suspended its lead primetime presenter, Dan Wootton, and his co-presenter, Lawrence Fox, after regulator Ofcom pledged to assess the actor and activist outburst on last night's edition of Dan Wootton Tonight. During the interview, Fox said to political journalist Ava Evans, as Wootton laughed along, who'd want to sleep with that? Wootton, who is the highest paid host on £600,000 a year at GB News, smiled and laughed as Fox belittled Miss Evans, branding her a little woman. Yeah, so that's what you got by there. And it's like, come on, really? This is how you're going to play it? Show me a single self-respecting man that would like to climb into bed with that woman ever, who wasn't an incel, Fox said. We need powerful, strong, amazing women who make great points for themselves. We don't need these sort of feminist 4.0. They're pathetic and embarrassing. Who'd want to sleep with that? In the exchange, which today provoked a media backlash, Wootton chipped in, I'm just going to provide a touch of balance, saying that Miss Evans had responded to comments aimed at her about her take on male mental health. Then he added, she is a very beautiful woman. Again, he's saying that just to try and get himself out of the shit. That's why he does it. On discovering she was the target of both men's misogynist speculations, Miss Evans said on X, Lawrence Fox just did a whole speech on GB News on why men apparently won't sleep with me. I feel physically sick. She later told her employer, Joe Politics, this is actually nothing to do with me. This is a producer-presenter problem. This is a network problem, which it is. And we've said it before and we will keep saying it. GB News should have actually suspended Dan Wootton 2 months ago, when all of this started coming out in the press. But no, they didn't. Why not? No one knows. Following Fox's suspension from the channel, Wootton posted on X, I apologise unreservedly for what was a very unfortunate lapse in judgment on my part. His comments appear to have prompted Fox to publish their private messages after last night's on-air exchange about Miss Evans. In a tweet, Fox said, honesty is the best policy, and posted messages showing Wootton, apparently using laughing emojis, writing of the exchange, can you imagine them freaking out in the gallery? As Fox replied, so much fun, kiss kiss. Yeah, that's one of the funniest things of this now, is that Dan Wootton tried playing the victim, and Lawrence Fox went, no, if I'm going down, so are you, because you were a part of it. But this next part is the one that cracked me up a lot. Fox also published messages to support his claim that his interview with Wootton was pre-agreed. It was pre-agreed with show planners, and that GB News knew what he intended to say on air. That's the funniest thing about all of this, and it's just like, yeah. Obviously now GB News, damn Wootton, they just tried to, go, no, get rid of him, push him that way. He's got nothing to do with us. What happened? They pushed everyone under the bus. He dragged everyone under there with him. Inevitable. GB News chief executive Angelus, this guy here, the one we don't like, the one who's also been accused and of that stuff which Dan Wootton's been accused of and a few things. And Angelus has actually paid off victims. Yeah, we done that in the video, which I will leave a link below for you. He wrote to staff this afternoon announcing the suspension and promising to investigate the comments made on there by Laurence Fox last night. The Byline Times understands that it was the threat of staff insurrection over how Wootton, the show's executive editor, handled the segment, and the apparent mocking of production staff per Fox's tweets, which led to Wootton's suspension. Yes, so with that there, with them saying, oh, I bet you they were freaking out in the gallery. Obviously, the gallery is what overlooks the actual, the stage presentation. That's where they do all the adverts, and, like the camera angles like this sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, I could see why they were probably going, oh my God. Because they're probably in there thinking, what the hell are you doing? Why are you saying this? But again, no, I find it funny because, well, if there was going to be a staff insurrection over that, why wasn't an insurrection over how Wootton has done all these horrible criminal acts? Allegedly, remember, now allegedly, gotta say that, over the course of the last decade and a half. Were they all okay with what he has supposedly done and what he's been accused of? Because it seems to me that a lot of the people there are. One senior host told this newspaper it had been inevitable. Other GB News sources suggest that Fox and Wootton will never again appear on the channel. Interesting. Very interesting. Senior newsroom sources have said that Angelus ignored warnings from staff members that the continual employment of Fox and Wootton was an accident waiting to happen. One senior presenter said it's about time, but why only suspend Wootton? They should get rid of him for good. There you have it, folks. You got people now who actually work in GB News. These are the ones who seem to be against Wootton for actually what he's been accused of. And for all we know, we're probably going to see now in the next couple of weeks things coming out that Wootton is a horrible person behind the scenes at GB News. Guarantee it. Employees have painted a picture of a rudderless organisation that has lost hundreds of experienced journalists in the past 2 years, driven out by presenter power, and a management team which refuses to listen to their warnings about potential breaches of the Ofcom code, and which is now has a staff heavy with Unilevers and ideologies. GB News has claimed it doesn't have a toxic workplace culture, but guarantee you 1000% it does. And you could see Wootton and all that behind it. They're probably some of the more stronger people who are doing it. But the latest incident, which GB News insists does not reflect our values, could lead the news channel facing yet another Ofcom investigation, adding to the 11 currently active, on top of 3 others the regulator has previously upheld against the Troubled Wood Network. They got so many Ofcom investigations against them because we've seen exactly how they act. We've seen Wootton in the press going after people for years, for decades now. That number may rise now due to Wootton's speech against Byline Times after this newspaper made serious allegations about his private and personal conduct and Wootton's misogynistic exchange with Fox. The Byline Times lodged a formal complaint through lawyers to Ofcom 2 months ago after Wootton appeared on his primetime 9 p.m. show to try and dismiss our 3-year investigation into a serial allegations of catfishing to solicit explicit material as a smear campaign by dark forces, while repeatedly and wrongly characterising this newspaper as a hard left blog and evoking the language of a culture war. One of our journalists had his car smeared with what appeared to be the Crimson stuff 2 days later, and the Byline Times team was emailed Daniel Wootton to tell us there will be this on the editorial floor, which was followed the next day by a threatening phone call. Another journalist was targeted with sophisticated and persistent cyber attacks. Police are investigating these incidents. Though Wootton denies any of the potential criminal allegations against him, he had never denied controlling or using the fake online identities of Martin Branning and Maria Joseph. Following his attack on the Bylan Times on live TV, Wootton set up the legal crowdfunder to apparently sue this newspaper for defamation. It raised £35,000 out of a target of £150 and was supported by various of his guests and supporters, including Laurence Fox and the writers Alison Pearson and Douglas Murray. It appears the page has subsequently been deleted. Let's have a little look-see. Page not found. Ooh. Isn't that interesting? That is very interesting. Following the allegations and Bylan Times special investigation, Wootton faces investigations now by his former employers at News UK and has been suspended pending an investigation by Mail Online. Until now, he has not faced any investigation from GB News. And obviously, the amazing journalists who did all of this, Tom Latcham and Dan Evans, they are former colleagues of Wootton's from the News of the World. And none of the sources in this investigation were paid for their testimony. And I will leave a link below for you folks if you want to subscribe to them, which I currently do. And I gotta admit, even some of their things, which is not related to Dan Wootton, but they are doing a lot of really good investigative journalism over there. Not like you would get, obviously, like the Daily Mail or the tabloids that we currently have. But guys, that's what we got. Yeah, you know, it's sad to see that this is what they suspend him for, because obviously we have seen so much of this guy just be a total dick, and he gets suspended over this, you know? But I really do think, you know, thinking now that with all of this, I do think they were looking for a reason to suspend him because of something he said on there. I can see him being there tonight on his show. I'm not too sure why I think that, but if not tonight, Monday he could very well be back. And they could be like, oh no, we didn't find anything against him, blah, blah, blah. But the evidence is there. Laurence Fox has sent it out and said, no, we knew exactly what we were going to do, and he liked it. But that's what we got there, ladies and gents. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future updates, and I'll see you soon.